And now, introducing a man who's so in demand he went back to 105.7 The Fan. He's the Samuel L. Jackson of Baltimore sports. That's right, if you pay him enough, he'll do anything. Oh, and he yells a lot. Haven't you seen any of his movies? He is Glenn Clark.
Good morning, it is Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn Clark. He is Paul Valley. Sitting in with us this morning, someone who's been doing a great job interning this semester at Pressbox, and unfortunately has had to listen to like nothing but my voice all semester as he has transcribed interviews and written them out. He's Austin Call from the University of Maryland, and Austin, it's good to have you in, and I got to meet Austin. Was it Master Sunday you were down in the Vandal Sports? Oh, we got to turn Austin's mic on, please. Thank you. You were down at the Vandal Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel.
I was.
Did any of your friends win anything that day? Or I think you guys might have left before I pulled the name, so it's possible you all won.
Nothing, not the raffle, but I did bet on Scotty Scheffler, though, on
Very nice.
on the Wednesday, actually, before the Masters.
What'd you get him at?
Plus 1,400. I don't bet.
Damn.
I don't bet a lot of money though, so it was. I only bet $5, but it was.
Okay, but hang on, at plus 1,400, that
was-
means
it
you
was
won.
75,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
That's a decent little payday. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I put a $40 that morning. I put a $40 bet in on Rory McIlroy to finish third.
Oh.
So that one finish the best out of everybody besides Scheffler and Harrison Smith. So that one paid out nicely for me. And then I looked at my wallet and I had a $100 bill last week. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? And I had to remind myself, oh, right, I won a bet. Speaking of winning bets, bet you guys didn't play Stanford volleyball against Grand Canyon last night. Bet you guys didn't do that. Bet you guys didn't pick up $180 betting on Stanford volleyball last night in 4 sets against Grand Canyon.
I feel like you're spiraling, man. We
Nope.
got to get you some help.
That's where you're wrong. I'm not spiraling.
Where's that problem gambling hotline?
I'm thriving is what I'm doing. I'm thriving. I'm living my best life. I couldn't find any Ukrainian ping pong matches to play last night, unfortunately. No, that's not true. I won a Ukrainian ping pong match last night, too. Oh, it's not true at all. But I didn't play a lot on it. I said, I got to take it easy. Things have not been going so well for your boy. I got to settle down a little bit.
I thought about changing my Paul's Preposterous props.
You really should be
today.
looking for some Ukrainian ping pong
And
matches.
I went to table tennis, and there is a Czech. There was a Czech ping pong match going on this morning.
Oh.
And I was like, I can't live bet this.
Hang on a second. See if your boy wants to throw a couple of bucks on
it's got to be over
on a
by
ping
now.
pong.
They were.
Well, I'm pretty sure they play them all day. If they're playing them at midnight, they got to be playing them all the time.
There was only one match, and it was going on as I was getting up this morning.
You think Czechia is the only place where they play ping pong, Paul? I know they play it in Ukraine because I've been. By the way, you know what the name of the event was in Ukraine? The Setka Cup. So I'm totally calling it the Stetka Cup.
The Stetka Cup.
It's definitely the Stetka Cup.
We got to get it when he's in town to pay off his debt.
Oh, that's right, he does.
We've got to get a ping pong table in here and play the Stetka Cup.
We can have a Stetka Cup. Oh, I like this idea. I like this idea.
And somebody's also got to find a snooker table.
That's you. You're the guy that's supposed to be finding the snooker table.
I actually started looking around to see how much one costs, and the cheapest one was like
somebody owns a snooker table somewhere.
There's no way.
No. You just got to do some work. This requires an extra level of work. What this requires is you going deep. You got to get into message boards. You got to you got to go to the dark web in order to find this stuff. Somebody in this state owns a snooker table and can organize a snooker match for us.
They just have some like seedy snooker
No.
tournaments
You're
going on in their basement like John Malkovich.
No, you're thinking the wrong way. It's just somebody that enjoys the game that owns a snooker table that exists somewhere.
All right,
It might be a 90-year-old person who just had a snooker table in their basement for 40 years or something like that.
Schnookers.
Yeah, you could get on that. Get on that already.
Austin, tried, man.
You ever played snooker?
I have not.
Yeah, neither have we. We want to play. We're trying to.
How
get
about I
on that.
build a snooker table? What if I built one?
You're going too far.
It could be something my father-in-law and I can do together.
Somebody owns a snooker table, bro. Somebody does.
I think you were over.
No, you're not putting the work in. You are thinking it's got to be a business. It doesn't have to be a business. It can be a businessman.
All right, during the first break, I will put out a Facebook search. I will ask all my 300 followers.
All right, here's what's going on. Oh, the Setka Cup continues right now. Here we go. Peter Selleck is up 2 sets on Ivan Peitsko. Well, obviously, we're
Peter Selleck of Tom Selleck fame?
I believe it's it's almost certainly his son. What are we doing here? We can bet $1,000 on Peter Selleck to win 10. That's a wonderful investment. Why wouldn't we do that?
I believe that's how you launder money.
What are you saying? I don't understand. Oh, it's off the board. Never mind. We can no longer bet Peter Selleck. What a bummer. There's other matches going on, though. You want to get in on this? Austin, you want to get in on this? We're betting ping pong over here.
I might have to.
We're betting some ping pong. Rizlan Salamko is up on Vladislav Mishchenko. Oh, we're going with Rizlov. Oh, Rizilov. That's the way that we're playing this. Let's see if we can. Hang on a second. Oh, that's off the board now, too. God damn it. They don't want me to bet anything. Son of a bitch.
It's bad when the sports betting websites have to tell you no, Glenn.
What are you talking about? They don't have to tell me that.
They're doing it for
They're
your
just
benefit.
choosing to.
They're still bettable on my phone.
Oh, yeah? Give me that. Let me see that phone. Let me see it. I definitely don't have a problem. I don't know why you keep insinuating. Come on! Hit the button! Oh, damn it. They took that one off the board, too. Son of a bitch. We're not going to be able to bet any ping pong this morning. This sucks. What are we even doing? Cancel the show.
Austin, you picked the wrong day to come
Tell
in.
Noah Batchelor we're not going to be able to do it. I'm so sorry. That's a bummer. Real bummer. Oh, the price is spiraling. I can't make any money at all. I blame Austin mostly. All right, Austin, what do you want to do with your life?
That's a good question.
Bet on Ukrainian ping pong? Because I know a guy. I know a guy that can facilitate said bets.
Might have to get into that.
You did so well on the Masters. It just might be time to step your game up. Betting on golf, what's that? You're not living until you're betting ping pong. Anything? You have no idea what you want to do?
No, I mean anything in sports journalism. To be honest,
all right.
I'd like to do.
Well, that's dying. I'm not sure if you've heard.
I'd
You
like
read
to
the
do
papers.
like to do stuff on the broadcasting side of things.
Okay.
So yeah, looking
Well,
to find.
Well, this is almost like that.
Sure.
This is sort of in that vein. You're a Yankees fan, so did you prepare the boo sound effect over there? Did you have that? Hey, nice team you got there. Hell of a weekend they had in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Nice team you got there.
That's a sound effect.
They bother to score any runs anytime?
Yeah, it's not great.
What's-
I did go to the one game against the Orioles that they did win. So,
Oh, you got that going
but
for you.
it did hail at that game.
Must be nice to
That
have a
was a-
Saturday night.
By the way, I do love the fact that he had to say the one game against the Orioles they did win. like that's what it's come to for the Yankees is we can remember the one.
The one.
It sounds like an Orioles fan talking. I remember the one time we won a game.
1-0.
All right, we're riding with. I'll tell you who we're riding with this morning. We're riding with Jan Priklapil. That's who we're riding with. That's our guy.
These are some names.
Well, they're Ukrainian,
You had
dog.
Ron Salami in
I
there.
gotta be honest with you, I'm a little surprised the Secca Cup is still going on. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if they maybe moved it this year or something like that.
Are these tournaments where these guys stand 20 feet off the table and just
These have
hit
got to
the
be.
crap out of the
You know,
ball?
Frank Caliendo is a hell of a ping pong player.
Is he?
Like a legitimately professional level
not
ping
just
pong player.
imitating one?
No, I mean like and in fact, I've hung out with Frank, like where I remember the first time he walked into a room draped in sweat. I mean like covered in sweat, and I'm like, dude, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I just got a workout in this morning, and I'm like, what? You run a marathon? Like, what'd you do? He's like, no, I was playing ping pong. I'm like, what? You got a workout in? And then I didn't know. I had no clue. As it turns out, he is a hardcore ping pong player.
Who's better, Frank Caliendo or J.J. Hardy?
I actually would venture a guess that it's Frank Caliendo because JJ just does it for fun. I mean, like Frank's serious about it. Like he's a serious ping pong player. JJ just does it for fun. There used to be real battles, by the way. The Ravens, before they introduced cornhole into the locker room, the big thing was in the a player's lounge. They had a ping pong table, and there were some legendary battles, like legendary. Jarrett Johnson was a big time ping pong player. But the guy that this is unfortunate because unfortunately his life took a turn. The guy that owned every one of the ping pong table was Justin Bannon, who if you're not familiar with things that happened with Justin Bannon, I would just say maybe don't Google it. Like, just
Yeah.
try to remember the good times if you can, because things did not go well for Justin Bannon in the years that followed his time in Baltimore. But anyway, I don't know how we got there. Oh, ping pong, because I'm betting Ukrainian ping pong. You guys are gonna start. You guys are gonna see. You're gonna see the lights. You're gonna see the light. You're gonna join me. You're gonna bet some Ukrainian ping pong. You're gonna say, "How did I ever live without doing this?" Speaking of betting and speaking of the Stetka Cup, coming up later today, weekend at Bookies. We do that every Thursday or every other Thursday morning. Andrew Stetka will join us with the Stetson figures. We're actually gonna have Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports, my old intern who launched a $1 billion tech company. Is going to join us, and we're going to go through the data on the NBA playoffs and some MLB matchups today as well. So that's coming up a little bit later on. It's brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, which is personally endorsed by Austin Colt because he won money there betting on Scotty Scheffler a couple weeks ago. So you can't do a whole lot better than that. Also coming up on the program today, Noah Batchelor is going to join us. He is the first commit that Kevin Willard has landed at the University of Maryland. Hagerstown native by way of the IMG Academy down in Florida. He had been at Glen Elg before that. Glen Elg Country School, that is. I guess you always have to remember that there are two different Glen Elgs. He had been at Glen Elg Country School before that, playing in the MIAA, then went down to Florida to the IMG Academy. He will be in College Park in the fall. 3-star recruit, but a rising 3-star recruit. Obviously, you need to start somewhere, and as we talked about yesterday with Maryland basketball recruiting, if you thought that Kevin Willard was just going to show up and start landing all sorts of 5-star prospects, you're simply not being realistic. It's not the way that it works. He has to lay a foundation, and it continues to be good news that we have not seen a mass exodus of the players that matter at the University of Maryland. Obviously, a couple that departed, but the ones that really matter have stuck around. At least as of now, they've stuck around. You would have thought that if they were planning on leaving, they would have made that decision beforehand. So we will chat about his decision with Noah Batchelor here a little bit later on this hour. Coming up at 11, this one's a weird one for me because it's just worked out this way. There may some of you perhaps may remember that I began my career as a sidekick on the Ed Norris show. Back in 2005, they called me Coach G, which was ironic because I have coached nothing in my life. But actually, it was really funny because one day Jeff Barnes was filling in for Ed, and I wasn't in studio. He was calling me, and they just told him, "You're calling Coach G." He thought I was Gary Williams. Straight shoot. Called and said, "Hey, Coach G, it's Jeff Barnes. Hey, how do you get the guys ready for the big game tonight?" Not a bit. That's a thing that happened at the beginning of my radio career.
What did you say?
I said, "Jeff, well, the coaches will figure that out," which I think only further confused him because, again, I was coach. So, I don't. Oh, Jan Pricklapil, big winner in 3 sets. Y'all feel stupid now.
I told you he yells.
Y'all feel stupid now. Your boy just won $69. Nice. $69. $69.98, in fact. If I'm being completely honest. What does that say there? Don't ignore what it is that I bet on it. Ignore that. What does it say there?
That's a winner.
That's a winner. That's a winner. It's a winner.
Bravo.
Y'all are making fun of me. You don't know. Get on my level.
Glenn just made $69 in 5 minutes.
Betting on Ukrainian ping pong, babe. That's where it's at. Y'all gotta get right with the Lord. Anyway, Ed Norris is gonna join us. And it's been I just the way it worked out. In fact, I found out the reason why is because he had changed his phone number. So I, for a little while, wondered if he hated me at some point because we invited him on when his book came out and never heard back. So I finally last night reached out to Jeremy. I'm like, "Hey man, is there something going on?" He's like, "He's got a new number. Do you got that?" I'm like, No, I don't." Explains everything. So Ed's gonna join us this morning for the first time, and then oh right, Izaiah Brockington's going to check in. Izaiah Brockington from Iowa State. Maryland trying to replicate what Iowa State did a year ago, obviously, is, they went from being, Iowa State was far worse than this Maryland team was. Iowa State, won 2 games the previous season, if I remember correctly, and then made a run to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Izaiah Brockington is a Towson native and is the son of Antoine Brockington, who was the star for the Coppin State team that one time upset South Carolina 25 years ago. So really neat local connection, local story. And he's getting ready for the NBA draft, so we will check in with Izaiah Brockington a little bit later on in the program as well before weekend at Bookies. And I think we're going to go ahead and put in another ping pong bet before the morning is over, too. All right. Today's show also brought to you by the Baltimore Police. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good, bpdrecruit.org. Baltimore Orioles victorious last night on the road in Oakland. I happen to know that our Orioles guy did not watch any of the game last night.
That is not true.
What?
When I was at the concert for the hour I was waiting for the first band to come on, I was streaming it on the Masson
You didn't tell me it was Pretty Reckless. They're incredible. I love Pretty Reckless.
The first band that came on was it was Diamante.
Oh, I don't. Oh, you know what? I've actually seen them somewhere. I don't know where.
She was
quite
attractive.
I want to say opening for Seven Dust, maybe. Somewhere I saw them.
Well, they came on. They played like 7 songs. She was.
It's weird. Paul told me he was unavailable during these hours, but he was plenty available to watch the game. Real weird how that worked.
There was nobody that I could have called.
Real weird how that worked.
I was
certainly couldn't have sent a text. Now, could you?
Couldn't. You know what? I
certainly couldn't have done that. Huh?
I like to call people first. I like to call them first.
The moral of the story is,
I managed to watch a game between bands.
I did not get to watch the game because I had a lacrosse game to broadcast last night with a really neat story I might talk about at some point. But an attempt to explain to me, as you know, I do not care. It's emotionless for me. But Paul is very emotional, so much so that when he spends big money on concert tickets, he's watching terrible baseball instead on his phone when 2,000 people attend the game. 2,000 people.
It was in between bands. I didn't miss anything.
And now, to tell us why it is that I should care, I give you our 1-minute man. He is Paul Valley. Mm-hmm.
Jordan Lyles has gone at least 5 innings in every start, and he's cut down on his hits, walks, and runs while upping Ks in each start. He picked up the win yesterday. The starter's ERA is down to 2.68. The bullpen ERA down to 2.47. You should care because while the team is pitching so well, Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish are building up innings in AAA with less pressure. Eyes are still on them, but there isn't a pressing need right now. Imagine, if you will, Kyle Bradish winning International League Pitcher of the Week and Grayson Rodriguez tearing it up like he has been his first 3 starts, and the Orioles pitching staff was pitching to like a 7 ERA like we expected them to do. How many people will be losing their minds in Baltimore right now? Also, the Orioles picked up their 3rd shutout in their first 12 games. They didn't pick up their 3rd shutout last year until July 18th. And they only threw 4 shutouts the entire season. So the pitching, once again, is a story, and it's looking good for Baltimore right now for the time being.
Again, I feel a little bad for Mrs. Valley. You got to at least be able to make it the 1 minute, man. You got to at least be able
like
to
58 seconds.
Yeah, right. Everybody says it's average.
50! That's a second Along Came Polly reference.
Not bad. A couple of thoughts. One, yeah, I mean, look, the pitching thing is insane. Now, let's also keep in mind it's Oakland, and it's not even really Oakland. It's a terrible team, and their B lineup. But still, they pitched well against the Yankees too. So, as I was saying, a terrible team and a B lineup. You stepped on my bit. You stepped right on it. You stepped right on my bit.
I'm sorry.
And with a Yankees fan in here too.
Yeah.
Like, you stepped all
Yankees
over
suck,
it.
Austin.
Yes, it was better the way that I delivered it.
I'm sorry.
You just stepped all over
I ruined
it.
everything. I'll go home.
God. I nailed it. I didn't prepare it. It just came to me in the moment, and you walked right over it. You a-hole. God, I'm going back to betting ping pong. Y'all can do the show. It's the Paul and Austin show. Enjoy it.
Just live stream Glenn betting on ping pong.
Man. The heater I'm on, betting ping pong. Of course, I'm not telling people specifically the way I'm doing things, but I'm doing it. So anyway, I bring this up just to keep that in mind, that I think if what you're trying to do is suggest that we now know definitively that there's something has changed within the Orioles as a pitching staff is concerned, you got to calm down. Mm-hmm. You have to calm down. Mm-hmm. It's all 3 of the following things. It's the small sample size, it's this week in particular, an abysmal team that you're up against, just as far as the lineup's concerned. There are not many major league hitters in that Athletics lineup. And then the third part of it being the weather, and it's what we talk about all the time. It's when things warm up, the ball's going to carry. Not as if they're giving up a ton of long fly balls that will turn into home runs. It's not an easy correlation between these things.
They've given up the least amount of home runs in baseball.
I understand that. Just saying all three of those things are relevant in talking about the Orioles pitching. Your point about there not being the same amount of pressure is well taken. A few people have reacted to the conversation we had with Grayson Rodriguez the other day and him saying that he wants to ramp up towards 100 pitches. He said 100 pitches, which is nuts. 100 pitches? I would be stunned if Grayson Rodriguez is being asked to throw 100 pitches in the major leagues anytime soon.
That's like a 5-inning outing for John Means.
Well, we like John Means.
We like John Means, but you need to lower his pitch count.
We want to dump on the. You walked over my Yankees joke and then took a shot at John Means. Who are you? You're a monster. My God.
I'm just trying to make the intern feel comfortable.
What's wrong with you? Jesus.
I'm still really affected by that guy calling me a company man.
He's one of the guys we like. Jesus. Anyway, so I'm not expecting him to actually throw 100 pitches, but he says that's what he wants to ramp up towards is 90 to 100 pitches. So for everybody that's saying, because he had another dominant outing last night, for everybody that's saying, I saw there was a conversation that one of our listeners, and it was Orioles Idiot, who was getting into a conversation with somebody and used our interview as fuel because the guy was like, he shouldn't throw another pitch at the AAA level. And he's like, look, man, he's got things that he wants to do. He's trying to ramp up more. And I like that. I like the fact that Grayson Rodriguez didn't, like when we bring up the criticism of, hey, what happens the third time through the order? He didn't say, oh, that's stupid. I'm going to dominate them. He said, yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. I want to get there. I want to ramp up. I want to throw that many pitches. I want to be comfortable going through an order another time. I like that. Also remember Grayson Rodriguez is a little bit younger than some of these other guys, so it's time-wise not as imperative that he gets here as soon as, somebody who had 4 years of college, for example, or even 3 years of college. So I do like the fact that there's not the same pressure. I think you've actually presented something now that is relevant. As far as not relevant enough that I'm compelled that I have to watch the games,
right?
But relevant nonetheless, which is the pitching is good enough that the mouth breathers can't just sit back and say, why isn't Grayson Rodriguez here? Why isn't Kyle Bradish here? Well, they don't need to be here. The pitching is fine. Can they hit? Because there's a little bit of an issue there. There is a bit of a problem.
From a pitching standpoint, it's a perfect scenario. Right now, they're ramping up their innings at the minor league level. They're dominating AAA hitters, and the Orioles are pitching well enough at the major league level that there's no need to call them up before you're ready to call them up. It's working out exactly how you would hope it would, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we still got to continue to see that.
Yeah.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Right?
We all know that a 2.51 team ERA isn't going to last.
No.
We know that.
No. It's and given who the people are that we're talking about, it's likely to be fleeting. But, you hope otherwise. You hope it continues. And the bullpen in particular, if you want to say that you have some sort of belief that this is something that can be sustained within the bullpen, again, my gut is they're going to continue to be taxed, and at some point that's going to catch up with them a little bit, and I don't think it can continue like this, but that it can be more of a strength than maybe we thought it was going to be coming into the season. I'll be willing to listen in on that. It still doesn't change all of my concerns about the fact that they're not producing.
Right.
This is
the 24 runs in 12 games is absolutely
nuts.
awful.
I mean, this is absolutely bonkers.
Because it's not like the A's are throwing out Sean Manaea.
Montas is a pitcher.
He's very good.
He's a legitimate
Yeah.
pitcher. I don't even remember who pitched the last 2 games.
Exactly.
But Montas can pitch. That guy's a real.
Irvin in game 2, and I can't remember who started.
I honest to God, don't remember who it was. Because, dude.
I think it was Dalton Jeffries.
It was Dalton Jeffries. Because I remember when we read it, I said, whatever that is. It's exactly what it was. It was Dalton Jeffries. Do you know anything at all about Dalton Jeffries?
No.
There you go. I can't believe you knew who it was.
Yeah.
Why would you know that? Did you bet the game?
No, MLB The Show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had like a prospect card because I guess he was one of their top prospects. But
Oh, well, they're good for Dalton Jeffries. He's got that going for him, which is nice.
Well, I think that the real test for the Orioles pitching staff, I mean, they've already had a real test because the Yankees, despite their ineptitude so far this year, they have some bombers in that lineup. They're the Bronx Bombers for a reason. But you're going up against a team this weekend. We're going to be sending Spencer Watkins and Chris Ellis out back-to-back against guys like Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Jared Walsh.
What, like they're good?
Right.
What, like that's hard?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You got into Harvard. What, like it's hard? Yeah, you're dropping Along Came Polly. I got Legally Blonde over here, baby. Or was that Legally Blonde too? I don't remember.
I thought it was Stealing Harvard with Tom Green and
I
Jason Lee.
I do remember Stealing Harvard, though. I do remember that film.
And Leslie Mann.
I was Tom Green obsessed at that point in my life, so I remember it well. I got very drunk on absinthe one night in New Orleans with my my wife and our gay best friend, and we decided.
Sounds like a movie itself.
Oh, it was my wife and I's anniversary, and I ordered champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries to the room. But I was way too drunk to participate in any of these. So there's a lovely 5th anniversary picture of my wife and our best friend eating anniversary strawberries and drinking champagne in a bed together.
Are you passed out in the background?
I don't remember. I was so absinthe did me in, baby. I don't drink the way I once did. And one trip, if anybody's familiar with the particular absinthe bar in New Orleans, like it don't take much. It does not take much. And then a nice walk back to the hotel, and I was Dunsky. They got up and went for beignets in the morning. I slept until about noon. It was the way things went. Just the way things went. But I tell the story because at some point I woke up from my absinthe stupor in the middle of the night, and Legally Blonde 2 was on the television. And I was in no condition to do anything about it. So I just watched it. I just sat in the bed, not really knowing where I was, not really knowing anything about where life had taken me, and enjoyed Legally Blonde 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, hey.
It was a magical film.
Well, Legally Blonde is one of Pam Beesly's 5 island movies.
That's right. I do remember that. That episode was, well, they're all on the Comedy Central recently, but for some reason I happened to watch that one where the fire drill. Yeah, exactly right.
Ryan started the fire.
That's right. It's 100% right.
Our Wi-Fi is Ryan started the Wi-Fi.
Not bad. Not bad. Anyway, yeah. So I don't have anything else to say about the Orioles. It was a game that happened. I am mesmerized by the fact that Grayson Rodriguez continues to dominate. What were his final numbers last night at Norfolk? I know
he went 5 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, no runs, 75 pitches.
I hear that's good.
Yeah.
And speaking of ramping up, 75 is a step up, right?
He went up 6 pitches from his first start to his second, and 8 pitches from his second start to his third.
So he's continuing to move towards those numbers that we're talking about. When he gets, I think when he gets to 90 pitches, and on this trajectory, he'd be there in like 2 to 3 starts. Mm-hmm. I think in those 2 to 3 starts, you can start having the conversation about, does he still need to be at AAA? If he can, obviously, if he's throwing one-hit shutouts, you know the answer, right? Like he sure as F does not. But I think more importantly, he gets to 90, especially if he gets up in the mid-90s. Once he gets to that number, if he's continuing to be dominant, then let's have that conversation. Let's talk about, no matter what's going on at the major league level, is there anything else to be accomplished by Grayson Rodriguez at AAA?
Where do we rank Grayson Rodriguez as far as hype amongst and going back to like when Mike Mussina and Ben McDonald were in the Orioles farm system, where do we rank the hype
It's very difficult to compare anyone to Ben McDonald because he was the number 1 overall pick, right? Like, it's just tough to compare anything to that. He was the number 1 overall pick. He had been a gold medalist. Like, there was so much hype. Grayson Rodriguez was barely a first-round pick.
Well, he's 11th overall.
I mean, but he wasn't – this was not a time where we thought – and that's the wrong way for me to say it. What I'm really trying to say is this was not someone that we had gotten to know before the draft. This was not someone that we were paying attention to. We weren't really paying attention to the draft at that point. He just happened to be the guy.
Yeah, they called him the pop-up talent in the draft, that he did so much work in the previous offseason and in his final year in high school that he was the guy that was like rose up draft boards.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when I say that, I'm not trying to say he was the 30th pick. I'm
We
saying
weren't paying attention.
I'm saying he wasn't somebody that was on the radar.
Right.
That there was any amount of conversation about before. Like when he got picked, as you guys know, we're meticulous about the work that we do in getting guys on. I had no idea who to get in touch with to try to get in touch with Grayson Rodriguez at that point. I woke up that morning. I'm like, who the F do I call? Now, I tracked him down. Obviously, we had him on the next day, but I didn't know because we had done no work whatsoever on Grayson Rodriguez. So the hype is different. It's come on over the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's come on basically since the pandemic. He was a guy, and suddenly we started looking and being like, he's more than a guy. He's a dude. And then obviously since last year, it's been sort of escalating. So in the last year, in the era of social media, in the era of us seeing more highlights and seeing more stats than we did, say, with Ben McDonald, then yeah, you could say in the last year, maybe he's the most hyped Orioles pitching prospect ever.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the chatter, the conversation, nothing could compare to Ben McDonald because he was number one overall, because he had, it was an amateur darling. There was so much hype surrounding Ben McDonald that I just don't think anything can compare to that.
You just missed a golden opportunity to break out into some Sinead O'Connor.
Well, nothing compares to nothing compares. It's actually Prince. We could go that route another day. All right. I do want to talk about all the wide receiver hubbub this morning. We will get to that, I promise. And as we mentioned, when we come back in, a Maryland native who's going to come back to play hoops here, Noah Batchelor, is going to join us next. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Today's program also brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Stan and Gary Stein are going to have a neat chat today with Kevin Byrne, the former PR czar for the Baltimore Ravens. We think about Kevin a lot around the NFL draft because he's in the room. Like, he's one of the few people that knows what it's like inside the Ravens war room during the draft. It's Ozzie and Eric and John Harbaugh and Steve Bisciotti and Pat Moore and Joe Ortiz, and then there's Kevin Byrne, who's been in the room for all these years and knows what it's like more than anybody else. So that'll be a fun conversation that Stan and Gary Stein will have later on today, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And if you miss it, you can see it tomorrow, PressBoxOnline.com/video or YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. It's Glenn Clark Radio. The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, diving into where his passion for baseball and for catching comes from and how he uses that passion to elevate those around him in the Orioles organization. Also inside, Bo Smolka takes a look at how the Ravens' 2021 draft picks can make progress in year two, and Glenn Clark offers a very unique tribute to former rival Mike Krzyzewski that all Maryland fans can appreciate. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people, people like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets with Glenn Clark and Paul Valley every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Bruce Billick and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and even a few winners. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday at 11:40 a.m. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Baseball is back, and so is the spring seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash-fried pork belly with our popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and take a bite out of the Crunch Burger, topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, and house-made chips. It also features irresistible options like a baseball-cut sirloin with blue cheese, grilled shrimp with garlic butter, and a strawberry salmon salad. And then there's the closer, the Cracker Jack Sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. GloryDaysGrill.com to find out more. Great food, good sports.
We can't imagine why you'd want to, but you can watch GCR live. It's at Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And try to guess whether these guys are wearing any pants.
There's a story this morning on TMZ that Mike Tyson apparently was repeatedly punching a man in the face on a plane last night after the guy had apparently annoyed him, to which the internet is saying, why in the F would you annoy Mike Tyson? Now, there's a bigger problem because Mike Tyson has randomly turned into America's sweetheart over the last few years, and if he was repeatedly punching a guy on a plane, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up his America's sweetheart role.
Does he need to repeatedly punch anybody that's on the boxing ring? I think one punch from Mike Tyson, you heard Ed Helms, he still got it.
All right. Maybe we're actually going to find ourselves agreeing with Mike Tyson. So this is the story from TMZ. Mike Tyson seemed to lose his cool on a plane Wednesday night, repeatedly punching a man in the face after the guy had apparently annoyed him. TMZ Sports has learned the incident all went down at around 10:30 p.m. as Tyson was slated to fly out of San Francisco International Airport to Florida. A witness on the plane says as he and his friend were boarding Tyson's flight, the boxing legend was initially cool with them and the other passengers. The witness tells us that Mike took a selfie with them and then was patient with his overly excited buddy who kept trying to talk to the 55-year-old fighter as he sat behind him. Eventually, though, we're told Tyson had enough of the guy behind him talking in his ear and told him to chill. When the guy didn't, that's when the witness says Tyson started to throw several punches at the man's face. It's not a great look. I mean,
I imagine that's how we'd all look.
looks like he spent some time with Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
100%. Video we obtained shows Tyson throwing a flurry of blows at the man, which you can see bloodied the passenger's forehead. The witness says Mike walked off the plane just seconds later. We're told the man who was punched received medical attention and then went to the police over the incident. We've reached out to the cops for comment, but so far no word back yet. We've also reached out to JetBlue and Tyson's camp for comment on the incident as well, but no word back yet there either. So it doesn't look great for Mike Tyson. However, there is a follow-up that says sources close to the Mike claim the man was extremely intoxicated and wouldn't stop provoking the boxer in his seat. If the dude, remember like the video of the incredibly drunk guy who was taped to the seat and like literally had his mouth taped shut, and we were all like, yep, we're in agreement.
Yeah.
Like, what, because initially the airline had suspended the people involved, and we were like, no. That guy's on my plane. I beg you that's what you do with him, is tape him to his seat and get him to shut the F up so we can all get to wherever it is that we're going. If the guy really was that belligerently drunk, I'm sure the law would say Mike Tyson still isn't allowed to just punch him a bunch of times.
He's going to have to pay this guy.
And there's going to be a problem there. But in the court of public opinion, I think we'll all find ourselves saying, we're with Tyson. We're with Tyson on this one.
Now, let me ask you a question, because we've talked about this in the past several times over. Where do you stand on Mike Tyson in general? Because remember what he went to prison for.
It's a very difficult thing. I've talked about this. I don't want to get too deep on this right now. I've talked about this a lot. I am in favor of listening to the idea that the justice system hasn't always been fair to black people. And if you watched what was the Mike Tyson document, the ABC Mike Tyson documentary, there are a lot of stories about that incident.
Okay.
And things that were said that paint a lot of cloudiness about it. I am the type that wants to believe women and all that sort of stuff, but like I want to say it was I don't remember if it was a Nightline. ABC did a lengthy Tyson special a couple years ago.
I have to check it out.
And there were a lot of things that other contestants in that pageant said that presented a cloudy picture as to what might have happened. And that has led me, because I remember saying a lot of times I was very uncomfortable with the idea that we had turned Mike Tyson into America's sweetheart.
Right.
But after that documentary, I was more willing to listen to the idea that the facts might not be exactly as they were presented.
Right.
So that's all I would really say about it. Is
Okay.
I would it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch to find out a little bit more about
I'll
it.
have to take a look.
Today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. That's where the NFL Chicks, Sarita Hubbard, and I are going to be 1 week from tonight. For the first round of the NFL Draft, we will have great giveaways for you. A lot going on in the FanDuel Sportsbook next Thursday night. Come join us. It's the best live betting night of the year, other than when the Setka Cup's going on. It's the second best live sporting night of the year because the Setka Cup is really the top one. It really is the best live sport because you can just keep walking up to the 61 self-service kiosk. Were you using the kiosks when you were there, Austin?
I was.
Austin was a kiosk man. They could not be any easier. Could not be. Austin, did you ever bet before? Was this your first?
No, I've
All right, never mind. Austin's a degenerate. He's not a good example. But the point is, they're easy to figure out. You don't have to be like Austin. You don't have to be some lowlife who's betting Ukrainian ping pong all the time in order to figure out how to use, Austin, in order to figure out how to use the 61 self-service kiosks. And they're open 24/7. So if, again, you are a despicable human that sits around and bets Ukrainian ping pong matches at all hours of the night like Austin does, which is shameful, and you should seek help and be embarrassed, then you could, again, hypothetically, like Austin, you could go to the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel and use those 61 self-service kiosks at all hours of the night in order to put those bets in. But again, you got to get your life together, buddy, all right? You got to consider some things over here betting on the Setka Cup. Got a lot of questions about that. But if you want to do it, place to do it is the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel.
Come back in June and bet on the Stetka Cup.
That's right. That's right. Now, are they going to have those odds up in the FanDuel Sportsbook? We should probably talk to Leon. We should probably talk to Leon Twyman about that.
Can we make this an official event?
All right. We had to do this a little bit earlier on because apparently he's still in school and has things to learn. Weird. But the first commit of the Kevin Willard era at the University of Maryland, Noah Batchelor, right here on GCR.
We're joined now here on GCR by a young man who just made it known this week that he is coming to College Park. He is officially the first recruit that was landed by new Maryland men's basketball coach Kevin Willard, that is, of course. I talk for a living. He is a young man from Hagerstown by way of the IMG Academy. Noah Batchelor is with us now here on GCR. Noah, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Appreciate you for letting me be honest.
Absolutely, man. Noah, can you take me through, when was the first time in your life that you thought to yourself, hey, man, it'd be cool to play basketball at the University of Maryland?
I think it was actually 8th grade when I actually was able to go to my first Maryland game that they brought me to, actually, when Greg was still there. So in 8th grade, he brought me to a game, and I watched it, and it was just an amazing experience, especially with the fans and everyone. So that's probably one of the first times I saw myself.
Did you immediately think hey, if everything goes right, this is where I'm going to be, or was it more open that? Were you more willing to listen to everybody else?
No, it was definitely more open. I was willing to listen to anybody, but after that, it definitely was nah, I want to play college basketball. I want to be on that next level.
I mean, it worked out for you exactly the way that it was. Take me through getting to know Kevin Willard and his staff, and it's been a rocky couple of months. If we had talked to you in say January or February, would you have been believing that you were still going to end up at the University of Maryland?
Yeah, getting to know Coach Willard and the whole entire staff this weekend, and even through the weeks that they were in, that they got hired. It was interesting. They're really good people. So just getting to know them was a really big thing for me and my parents, and I'm glad I did because obviously I made a decision to go to Maryland. But, Willard and all them, they're just really good people, and they only mean for the best for me and my family. So getting to know them, was definitely special.
Did you, I think people are familiar that at one point you had been committed to play at Memphis. Did you make that decision knowing that you were still going to think about it and that it wasn't can you just take me through the history with how it came about that you ended up deciding, no, I want to open things up more?
Actually, no. I actually committed to Memphis as like solid, like I want to go to Memphis, like I want to be at Memphis. Um, but then a few things started to happen, and it just didn't feel like the right fit for me at the time, especially with me and my parents. They just wanted what's best for me, and they didn't feel comfortable with me being at Memphis. I just don't want to dive into it too much. But
Sure.
it definitely came to a decision that we just, I just had to pull out and reopen my recruitment.
I get what you're saying. So, and I'm assuming you're going to say the same thing. Like when you commit to Maryland, this is everything in your plan is when we get to the fall, I'm playing basketball at Maryland. There's no turning back
Of course.
now. Yeah, right. He's Noah Batchelor. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio as we're chatting about him committing to come to the University of Maryland. Noah, your experience at IMG, how did that come about, and what has it done for you to raise your game to the level that you're ready for the big time Big Ten basketball?
I got to IMG in my like halfway through my junior year. So I mean, since I've been here, it's been an amazing experience. I've been improved so much. I was just looking at like numbers and stuff from this year, and like my weightlifting is going really well. I'm gaining a lot of weight, and everything is just the experience is basically college. I mean, I take 4 classes. I have 2 classes a day, and it's just basically class and basketball. So that's really what it's going to be like at college, and it really prepares you for that next level.
Did it all make you? I wonder, if it made you at all kind of miss home a little bit? Did that play a factor at all in choosing Maryland?
I don't think that really played a factor in me choosing Maryland at all. I definitely did miss home a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't think it really played a factor.
Do you feel like you're more prepared for the next level, as you alluded to, the similarities to the college experience and the focuses, and maybe separating out some of the noise that comes when you're at home? Do you feel like that has you perhaps better prepared for that jump to the next level?
Yeah, I think I'm more prepared than a bunch of others, I would say, with just experience in lifting and practicing and all the other kind of stuff. Even Coach Wood and all that, even other coaches have told me that guys like me coming from IMG or even coming from like a national school like mine, we're just a lot more prepared, and we have a lot more, I'm not going to say knowledge, but maybe a lot more IQ than others, and it kind of being at a national school really helps out a lot.
I think there's no doubt about it. And the competition that you're going up against, right? Like, my God, you guys
Right.
are kind of playing anybody, right?
Yeah.
Was there one particular game that you played that you were like, oh, man, like, I know now. Going up against this dude, going up against this guy guard, was there anything like that stood out for you that made you say, oh, I know I'm ready?
Honestly, I would probably say pretty much every night that we were away, in New Jersey,
Yeah.
in Indiana, and even in Orlando, especially in Geico and City of Palms, like we played great competition every single night. So me just playing against that competition and doing well and thriving in that environment just really like it just brought a thought to my head, like, yeah, I'm definitely ready. But I know I'm still going to have some improvements. Like, I still got to improve on some things, but I think it's definitely going to help.
Let's talk about you, the basketball player, Noah. We know you can shoot. Tell me about where that came from. Were you born? Were you a shooter out of the womb? Was that the type of player that you were? And what else do we need to know about you that you're going to bring to the table now at the University of Maryland?
Yeah, I definitely think I was always, born as a shooter. But in middle school, I had to play my freshman year, I had to play, center a little bit.
It's because of your size.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely, I've played basically every position that there is to play. So, I think, it's always been natural for me just to be a shooter. But I think what people should expect from me is just I'm a really energetic guy. I bring like all my energy. I bring it out every night. I can shoot the ball obviously really well. I'm really athletic, and I play defense, and I love the game. So, I mean, that's just a little bit of it.
Is there a player that you look at and you, I don't know, you mold your game after, but you look at them and say, man, that's the guy that I feel like I'm most similar to that maybe we would know?
I definitely heard some comparisons, like Klay Thompson and Duncan Robinson, and maybe sometimes that I move when I move without the ball, it's like how Curry does. So definitely those three guys are like the guys that I
Yeah,
try to model my game after.
those guys are kind of okay. Those guys are decent. Boy, Duncan Robinson, it's nuts watching him right now, bro.
I know he's good.
Man, it is nuts watching him just go off for the Heat. We talk about, you mentioned Greg earlier, Greg Manning. How important was that for you, that he stuck around as part of the program in choosing to stay at Maryland as he was kind of a holdover from one staff to the next?
That was pretty important for me. I mean, me and him, we've had a great relationship, obviously, since my 8th grade years. So for him to, stay there and now be there when I come is going to be really special. And I'm glad that me and him built that type of relationship.
Does it mean anything to you to be the first commit for Kevin Willard at Maryland? Is there something significant about that to you that people are going to remember and years from now they'll say, man, he really knocked it out right on the first one. You look at the player he found in the first guy that he got to commit. Does that type of thing mean something to you?
Yeah, I'm definitely honored. It's really special, to me just to even think about that. It's just crazy. So it's definitely really special.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Something that, does it add maybe even a little bit of pressure that you're like, hey, man, I love that idea. You know what you're walking into, right? Like, it's a new coaching staff. It's a time where, you know how Maryland fans are. You're from here. You know what the expectations are for this program. Does that excite you to be a part of trying to lay a new foundation for Maryland basketball?
It's definitely exciting, I don't think I feel any pressure towards anything. There might be a little bit of pressure, but I'm not going to let it, take over my game, obviously. But I'm definitely very excited.
He is Noah Batchelor. Just another minute or two here with him on Glenn Clark Radio as he's coming to the University of Maryland. Do you know the guys at all? Is there anybody on the roster that you've been able to spend any time with or get to know even during this process a little bit?
I would say I definitely got to know Ike Cornish and Juju, I think.
Couple of Baltimore kids.
Yeah, both of them.
How long have you known? Did those relationships go back, predate, you going through this process? Does that go back to growing up in the area playing basketball at all?
Definitely with Juju. I played against him when he was at St. Francis. So me and him was battling out when I was at Glen Elk. So we definitely have some history of playing against each other. And then with Ike, it was just like a connection through basketball. So me and him have been tight for a little bit now.
That's cool. Who got the better of each other when you? I mean, Juju was on some pretty good teams. Who got the better of each other when you and Juju went up against it?
Man, Juju did, though.
Yeah, there was some pretty good teams. It's a little bit different world than what you guys had going on. That's the way that goes. And then give me your goals, Noah, as you arrive at Maryland, right? As we talk about, it's a tough time for Maryland basketball and trying to lay something new. What are the goals? What, for both personally, for the team, what are the things that you want to accomplish during however long it is that you end up being in College Park?
I don't think I'm as focused on individual, accolades. I know those are going to come, but I'm just really focused on winning. That's all I want to do when I get there is just win, win, win. So I just want to, make us a program. Obviously, me and my teammates, we're going to make our program, known more again, and make sure that every time we step on a court that the other team knows that they got a long night.
I like that, man. I like everything about it. Was there anyone, we'll wrap with this, was there any one Maryland basketball player? It's anybody that you remember watching, that you were a fan of, anything like that from growing up as a kid here?
I'd probably say Kevin Herter.
It's turned out pretty okay for him.
Yeah, Kevin Herter is definitely one of the kids on Maryland that I've seen when I came for the first time. So definitely him.
That's cool, man. That's very cool. Noah, what can we plug for you social media-wise? Twitter, Instagram, anything like that. Where can people be giving you a follow?
Give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay.
My Instagram is it's Noah Batchelor, but it has 2 R's then.
Okay.
And then you could put my Twitter down. I think it's Noah_Batchelor_.
Absolutely. And it's Batchelor with a T. So
yes, sir.
At some point down the road, of course, well, obviously when you have insane success, they're going to have to revisit the title of The Batchelor because it might end up being that when we say The Batchelor, everybody thinks about you, right? Like we might have to think about that. Hey, Noah, congratulations, man. We're awfully excited to see you in College Park next season. Really appreciate taking a couple of minutes for us and look forward to getting to know you better over the next couple of years, all right?
I appreciate you.
Good kid. Looking forward to seeing Noah Batchelor in College Park and appreciate him taking the time for us here on GCR. Also appreciate one Peter Abraham, who, when he's not busy writing for the Boston Globe, won in 5 sets this morning against Miroslav Brozak. And so Daddy's already 3 for 3 on the day. You guys
is that the one who was getting boat raced there for a little bit?
No, that was Sergey. That was Sergey Hop or Zot. What was the guy's name? I don't know. I've forgotten. It was Sergey Zop, who was getting his ass kicked in the second set and suddenly decided to come alive in the third and the fourths. And 3 for 3. You guys keep sleeping on the Setka Cup. I'm over here cleaning up. Cleaning up, dogs. Cleaning up. All right, hour number 1. Hey, I mentioned the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino Hotel. Right now, if you go to PressBoxOnline.com/contests, you can sign up to win a VIP experience for the first round of the NFL Draft next Thursday night in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. You, 3 of your friends, get a reserved table and a $300 tab for your food and booze to hang out. It's going to be a packed crowd. We're expecting a massive turnout because, as I mentioned, it's the best live betting night of the year. Your table reserved, $300 tab on us. All you got to do is go to PressBoxOnline.com/contests and sign up. Sign up by, we've decided to extend it Tuesday at noon. We will pick a winner Tuesday at noon, so you got to be signed up by then. PressBoxOnline.com/contest. You and 3 of your friends can come join us in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. I was asked, well, what if I don't have 3 friends? Well, this would be a good way to go about making one. You'd say, what are you doing Thursday night? What are you doing New Year's Eve? You could do that, and you could make new friends because you can say, I've got food and booze, and I can hang out with you. We can get a Patron margarita tree or 7 during the course of the evening. That sounds like a good way to go about making friends to me. I think if you offered that to me, I might say, you know what, Steve? Yeah, let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. Now, yeah, I might ditch you and forget all about you at the end of the evening. We've got to establish some ground rules ahead of time. What are your expectations? We've got to cover all of those things. But it sounds like a good way to go about making some new friends. Sign up, PressBoxOnline.com/contests. And you can be a winner like Austin was a winner for the FanDuel Sportsbook in the Masters.
Random thought. You asked me how the Pretty Reckless was, and I told you about Diamante instead.
Yeah, I like the Pretty Reckless.
They were incredible.
Yeah, it's what's her face? That's Taylor Momsen.
Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah, exactly right.
Girl.
100%.
They were at, and I'll tell you, and this is going to sound very creepy. That girl owns her sexuality on stage.
Okay.
It was.
Right.
I because
coming up next, we're gonna
because I hear the songs on the radio.
Yeah.
I was expecting her, and I've seen pictures of her with like the black eye makeup and all that. I was expecting her to come out and be kind of gothic and all that. And she was wearing the boots and the black dress and all that. But she was feeling herself, not literally, but feeling herself on stage.
Well, so now that Paul's canceled, coming up on Monday, new producer Austin Call.
Wildly entertaining.
I like them a great deal. They're very good. Yeah. All right, when we come back in, Ed Norris from 105.7 The Fan is going to check in with us. I hear he's done some other things in his life. We'll chat with him next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable.
Le
champion.
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people, people like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, diving into where his passion for baseball and for catching comes from and how he uses that passion to elevate those around him in the Orioles organization. Also inside, Bo Smolka takes a look at how the Ravens' 2021 draft picks can make progress in year two, and Glenn Clark offers a very unique tribute to former rival Mike Krzyzewski that all Maryland fans can appreciate. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Stay tuned. Your chance to win $1 million is coming up. Probably not from us. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on GCR. Today's show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Make the most out of every day in a Toyota RAV4, available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today. All right, I am going to talk about the wide receivers, I promise. It's what everybody's talking about, specifically with the Ravens' Deebo Samuel. Because of his physicality, because of the fit, because of all of those things. I'll tell you, I'll bet against it. But I say that about everybody. Like, whenever there's a player that would have cost a great deal in a trade, a significant move that could be made, I say the same thing. I think it's unlikely. I'd bet against it. I don't think that's something that will happen. But I get it, and I'm not telling you I'm not in favor of it. I think the Ravens should explore. I do think that Deebo Samuel would make all sorts of sense as a player. What exactly the cost is, there were some rumors this week that the 49ers wouldn't trade Deebo Samuel, despite the fact that he allegedly asked to be traded, that maybe they would, but it'd only be if they get absolutely overwhelmed in an offer for Deebo Samuel. Okay, well, what does that mean, right?
Can you imagine Deebo Samuel in this offense.
Oh, my God. I'd be wildly in favor of it. Now, we also need to know if Deebo Samuel, part of his frustration is he doesn't really want to be used as a running back anymore, right? Like, there's a bunch of stuff that we would need to know about that. But on paper, yeah, I'm exploring it. I'm making phone calls. I'm interested uniquely in Deebo Samuel. But you know what it's going to cost. This idea that, like, the market for wide receivers is one way for certain guys, and then when the next guys come up, they're not getting that, stop it. You know what it's going to cost. A lot in the trade and a lot in the contract. Is it worth it? I'd argue yes. That's the cost of having special talent. This is a cool moment for me. So I am returning to 105.7 The Fan this weekend after 16 years away. 16, which technically I did updates for him a couple times, but they were really angry about that. I was working for another radio station at the time, and it was a company policy, and the bosses at 105.7 were not happy to hear my voice on their radio station. It's a long story. I have not done a show from the building in 16 years, but that changes this Sunday when Rita and I make our debut, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Probably the only person that was on staff at 105.7 the last time I was there that's still there, he hasn't gone anywhere, is a guy that I was really close with and did a lot for me as I was making my way in, despite the fact that I was wildly unqualified at the time at 22 years old. You hear him on the Big Bad Morning Show, and I hear he's done other things in his career. He is my friend, Ed Norris, and he is with us now here on GCR. Ed, what's going on, pal? How are you?
Nothing, man. I can't believe you're back.
Dude.
It's pretty exciting.
Dude, when you heard that, because you more than anybody know how over the years I would not have been welcomed back over by certain people in that building. There were times where this would have been impossible. It's so funny when I had the first meeting with Chuck, I was like, Chuck, do you know my history here?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have happened. It is wild to me. I try to tell people I have no idea why it is that you guys let me. Why did you let me go on the air when I was 22 years old and a bumbling idiot? Why did you allow that?
Oh, you were talented. You were fun. I loved having you on the show. I love it. And I love the rides to the airport when I was commuting to Tampa.
Okay, so
I could never have you.
This is actually a fact. So this is a true story. Ed and I, Ed, he's a very good guy, and Ed and I would hang out because I was 22. I had nothing to do. I had no obligations. I had nothing. We would do the show. Then I had to be back in the afternoon to do another show on 1300. So there was like a 4-hour span in there where I had nothing to do. And Ed was like, we're going to go have some lunch and maybe a drink. And that would turn into a couple of drinks. And then I'd be like, oh, crap, I'm supposed to be on 1300 right now. Would race back over drunk.
Yeah. Not much has changed. I'm meeting Jeremy right now.
Are you really? That's pretty funny. Yeah. That is pretty funny. So Ed at one point said, hey, do you want to make a couple of extra bucks? And being 22 and broke, the answer was, yeah, I do. Absolutely. He said, I'll throw you like $20 a week if you ride me to the airport on Friday and pick me back up on Sunday. And I was like, yes, sir, absolutely. Until the Sunday that I completely forgot. And in fact, not only did I forget, this is a straight shoot. I had borrowed Ed's car for the weekend and didn't tell him. Straight shoot. Ed was renting a car. You had like a hookup with somebody, didn't you? Wasn't there like a sponsor or something like that?
A friend of that Enterprise was doing favors for us.
So Ed had a car, and he was like, you can drive that down to drop me off at the airport so you don't have to use your gas money. And there was something, again, because I was 22 and broke, I don't think that my car busted or something like that. So without telling Ed, I just took his car for the weekend and then forgot to pick him up at the airport on Sunday.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those are the days. What's going on with you, man? How are you?
Good. A lot's transpired since then.
Yeah, 16 years.
I'm there 17 years now. It's hard to believe.
That's unreal. That is unreal.
Lots
dude.
changed. Lots going on in my life, and things are good though.
How's your son?
My son, my son is. I just spotted him yesterday. He's mentioned like 315 now. He's 23 years old.
Holy crap! Ed's son.
Yeah,
Ed's son, who
not
I remember.
A little boy anymore.
Yeah, he was 6.
Exactly.
Was 6 at that point. Okay, so a couple things I got to cover with you. Jeremy swears no one's gonna try to give me a swirly or anything like that over there. But I know you better than that. I know there's got to be some hazing that you have in mind as I make my return to the station this weekend.
But if I tell you, it's not a surprise.
Oh, damn it. That's true. Do you have, again, let me make sure I don't get anybody in trouble. Do you have a fun hazing thing that you guys used to do when you were a cop? Again, not one that would be problematic. Do you have a fun hazing story that you could tell?
Yeah. I remember we get rookies in, and you usually start on foot, but the first day they were assigned to a radio car, they were thrilled because they felt like they were seasoned cops at that point. So we would always do something. And one time I don't know how they did this, but they put a couple of pigeons in the kid's car, and unbeknownst to him, and he got in and didn't know, and then he gets in there, starts flying around and flipping them out. Yeah,
there's got to be crap everywhere in that car.
Yeah, of course.
Just pigeon S everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you're responsible for cleaning it.
That's wonderful. See, that's good hazing. I like that hazing. Yeah. That's next level too. Where the F do you get pigeons?
It's New York City.
All right, fair enough. Okay, you just walk outside, right?
Fair enough. All right, I'm the idiot. That's a good point. Ed Norris with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Did you, at what point into this did you decide it was like you were cool with this being what you did for your life? Like, at what point in were you like, yeah, I don't mind just getting up and bitching about sports every morning for 4 hours?
It took a couple of years because the original show was kind of a pop culture. We did everything.
Yep.
And then we did some sports, and then they flipped the station to the Fan, and they fired everybody except me. They asked me to stay, and they asked me to go to mornings. I was like, ugh, that's a lifestyle change.
Bro.
It sure is. 3:30 wake-ups come quick every day. So I wasn't crazy about it at the beginning. It was really, it's a grind. But then I just got to like it. I'm like, it's really, how dare you bitch about working, you're off at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. You make good money. You talk about sports. You can wear, you can wear sports clothes. You can wear, I wear hockey sweaters and shorts to work.
100%.
So it's like, I'm not going to complain. I'm not unloading trucks. I'm not digging ditches. Then, like I said, you better shut up and just enjoy this, and I have for the last 17 years.
Do you find yourself, how invested are you? Like, because I remember, like, I would come do sports with you, and you were really into it. Like, I felt like it was the part of the show that you actually look forward to the most when you were doing the old show.
People forget. Like, the problem I had was, other people came in and they were in sports broadcast radio. That's what they aspired to do, and everybody assumed they did. When I got the job, he's a police commissioner. What the hell was he? But I played football in college. I boxed as an amateur. I played hockey as a young guy. I love sports, and I'm a huge sports fan. I wasn't a Division I athlete. I played D3, but I still played the college level. I boxed AAU, and I love sports. I love competition. I've always loved sports. I was like, so it was a natural fit. I guess that's why they asked me to stay when everyone else was like,
by the way, this is a straight shoot, too. One day I bumped into Ed at Ravens practice, and I hated going to Ravens practices. Like, it does not do anything for. I say I've gone the other way. Where you remember me when I was like in love with the idea of like doing sports for a living, and now I'm six. Yep. Now I've got more of an edge at this point in my life where I'm like, no, this sucks. I'd rather be doing anything else. And I remember I said to Ed, like, why would you come out and do this? And Ed straight shoot said, like, I just love football. Like, I love this stuff. I'm like, really? How? I hate this. Is the least enjoyable part of the job.
I know. I even love watching drills. It reminded me of, I played football for 10 years, so I just love watching them practice.
So
I love
weird
the
to
drills. I just love being around football. This gave me a chance to, to be, and it's cool. Like, I get to talk to John Harbaugh now, and once in a blue moon we'll hang out somewhere. I'm going to have lunch or happy hour or something. It's just a very cool thing. A lot of people would, they'd give anything to be doing this. So you just got to appreciate it.
Not the watch and practice part. That part sucks. Like, you're not going to get.
Love it.
You're so weird in that way. You are so strange, dude.
We're weird in a lot of ways, but
yeah. Well, okay. I know that as well.
I know you do.
Anyway. Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving forward. Hey, I'm assuming you read We Own the City, right?
I actually have not.
Really? Okay.
I have not. I've talked to Justin Fenton about it, and David Simon, obviously, and all that. So I know the story, but I have not read the books.
Okay, I finally read it a couple weeks ago, and I crammed the entire series over the weekend because they sent me a screener of it, and it's fascinating to me because we've talked a lot about, this was awful what was going on. Like, this is insane what was going on, but there's this difficulty within the fraternity of the police where your intent is to protect your own, right? Like, that's the way that it worked. Can you describe to people how something like this could happen? Because I feel, Ed, like the most difficult part of reading the book for me was questioning how corruptible I might be. That was the like in reading the book, and I was talking to Justin about it this week. I said, dude, it felt like the subplot of the book was you asking every single person that was reading it, how corruptible might you be if you were in the same situation?
That's an interesting take because I talked about this unrelated to the GTTF. I was talking about other things on my show, and I was telling a story about some people just shouldn't come on. Like, if you ever saw the thing about the 7-5 with Dowd.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was on the job in New York. I was an NYPD officer when that broke. And
Okay.
Dad was just a criminal who became a police officer. And that's unusual when guys come in and he's predisposed to be thugs. But the other thing is they show you a film when you come on called The Erosion Series. Internal Affairs makes you watch it. And it talks about if you don't nip things in the bud, sometimes guys, they take a little, a free meal, then this, then a gift. And then before you know it, they think it's normal and it's okay.
Right.
And it's just, and then what happens? We had a similar scandal when I was in New York, in Harlem, and we found that very often when these things happen, the people who were doing it were recruited or hired when there was like a huge hiring that needed to be done quickly. The backgrounds weren't thoroughly done. Very often they worked steady hours. They worked midnight to 8, which is a really insular shift where there's no people around really, except you and the drug dealers and whoever else hangs out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And your world becomes really different, and you get a distorted view of the world. And if you're in a group of people where nobody's really watching you, like if the supervisor's involved, like was in GTDF, it's a real problem because they're the ones that are supposed to, watch out for this stuff. If the sergeant or lieutenant's involved, then it's a problem. And that's usually how it happens. And we had one in New York like that, the 30th precinct.
And then at that point, it's almost like, what am I supposed to do? But the one guy, Kostopoulos, was the only one that said no, right, the entire time, and he only said no because he thought he was being tested. He was like, I thought they were trying to get me, and so I said no. Like,
yeah, which they do.
I mean, it's nuts, bro. And I felt like, because again, I'm not trying to compare it in any way, and in no world do I think I am anything like Wayne Jenkins. I'm going to make that abundantly clear. But, I think we all remember I'm 22 in the radio industry. We're giving away some, like, concert tickets. And I'm like, hey, my girlfriend likes Justin Timberlake.
Right.
And I worry. I think that through. I'm like, man, could I have been corruptible?
I don't think so. Because I think this is a vast difference between guys that do that. There's concert tickets. There's sweatshirts laying around. There's things like that. In the police department, like, some local merchants want to feed you with something because they like you in the restaurant.
Right.
Things like that. But I think it takes a really different individual to actually stick people up at gunpoint.
Correct.
Steal their money, drug dealers or not.
Yes.
And I was always terrified, because they do watch you all the time. They do set you up. Like I was in narcotics in New York. I was an undercover when I was very young, and then I was a supervisor. I remember once I had $85,000 in cash in a bag that I had a voucher. We recovered it from a search warrant. I'm like, and you think about it, like, is this a test? Like, they film me right? You're stamping the money and you're going through it, put it in the counter and stuff. But that was always in my mind that this is a test, that's a test. So you never even.
Yeah, they're going to count every dollar. Yeah, you come back with 84.78, and there's going to be an issue. Like.
Yeah, and the fact is, those dollars have been recorded on a copy machine, and they have every serial number of every dollar that they test you with, and they'll be in your possession. So that's how they get you.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Are you gonna watch or?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, let's see it. And David Simon,
I know that's your guy. I know that.
He's my guy. I'll never say a bad word about David. He gave me work when my world caved in. I was on the wire when I had no other job. I was acting, and I'll never forget what he did for me. So
and I saw, I saw, because you don't do a lot on social media, but I saw you post something really nice about Michael K. Williams.
Yeah, well, that broke my heart because it turns out Michael Williams and I he's younger than me, obviously. He was younger. But he went to my neighborhood high school. We were from the same neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Wow.
So I got to know him on the set a little bit. And he was such a nice guy. And I had I think you saw the picture I posted. Him and we were there at Brewer's Art. That's where it was. And he's just a wonderful human being. But he had a problem. He had demons with drugs. And his fentanyl is just, they got to do something about this because that's so many people dying from this. Drug dealers are lacing the heroin and other things, the cocaine with fentanyl, and it's 50 times stronger than heroin.
It's terrifying.
It kills people routinely, and it's a terrible thing. And he was a massive talent. I mean, you look at what he's done. He's been in a bunch of movies. He did a great job in Boardwalk Empire. He was great in The Wire. I mean, Omar Cumming is like
it's one of the most iconic characters in television history. Correct.
100%. Yes. I mean, people have never watched The Wire know who Omar is.
1,000%. 1,000%. And he's so gifted. He's so I only ever had a couple of conversations with him over the years, but like, man, it was just talking to him about it was so. You were talking to an actor. You were talking to an artist. Like,
he's professional. He was a real pro.
God, he was unbelievable, man.
All right. Well, this is cool for me, Ed. This is really cool for me doing this with you. Let's do this again. All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I didn't tell you this, but I've actually, this is a straight shoot too. I, over the years, had been reaching out to you on an old phone number.
Oh, really?
And I found that out from Jeremy this week. I was like, it's weird. I've reached out to Ed. Like when your book came out, I had
Right.
when it was the 10th anniversary of The Wire, in fact. I reached out to you because we were doing a ton of stuff. And I just never bothered to ask you anything like that, so I feel bad about that. I feel bad that I just waited this long before I finally figured out, but we'll do it more often. Of course, the
I'm glad you found me.
The Big Bad Morning Show every morning on 105.7 The Fan. Is there anything else going on in your world that I can get a plug in for you?
Not really. I mean, I've done some other acting since, but I'm not doing much. I mean, I wrote the book. The book was a big thing for me, and so I wrote the book. I did some other acting. I was flown to London to do a Jackie Ripper documentary. I've done some other stuff. I'm doing some consulting for crime fighting, and it's become a real problem in the United States right now.
No.
I'm doing a little bit of that.
No.
And yeah. So yeah, and I'm doing a lot of things like that. Living downtown again, so it's been good.
Very cool, man. Ed, it's great to hear from you, my friend. Really appreciate taking a couple of minutes for us, and we'll catch up again real soon, all right?
Absolutely. Welcome back. Good luck. And don't be surprised to see me in the building.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ed
All right,
Norris joining us here on GCR from 105.7 The Fan. Yeah, my first job in radio was basically, it was Ed's sports guy / personal assistant. It was very clear to me when I walked in on the first day and Ed was talking about how much he had to do, and the guy who ran the company was like, well, just have these guys do it. And like, he had no idea who I was. He just pointed at me. He's like, why do you think he's here? Just have him do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So you got that to look forward to as you try to break your way into the business, Austin. That's the way things look. All right. Let's get Tidbit and Tubular now because Izaiah Brockington's going to join us here in a few minutes. So we'll do that, and then we'll have Izaiah Brockington join us, and then we'll wrap up the show that way. By the way, cash another. Just no big deal. No big deal. I'm only up about $600 today. That's all. Only up about $600.
Really?
Yep.
That's insane.
Yep.
That's insane.
Think about to play another one. How we feeling about Tomek Baytog and Martin Kolick? They're going to the fifth set.
Martin Kolick.
You're a Kolick man? I thought I was a Baytog guy.
I'll just go with the cool names I think is working.
So which one do you think is? You think Kolick is cooler than Baytog?
No, Baytog.
You like Baytog?
Yeah.
It's 2-1. You're out. Sorry. We're riding. We're Baytog. Oh, they just locked it up. Hang on. It'll come back in a second. We're going to do this. We're betting the second cup. Oh, man. They can't pay for this type of publicity. This is the most conversation that's ever occurred about the Setka Cup.
We should get somebody from the Setka Cup.
I would love to do a segment about the Setka Cup. Not really. I don't really think we should do that. I mean, we should, but it'd be for us. It'd be for nobody else. All right. Tidbit is brought to you today by the new print issue of Press Box. Oh, you know what? Can you, Austin, do me a favor? Run out and check over along the wall over there. See if the Adley Rutschman cover of Press Box, if there's a copy of that over there that we can show up for everybody, because it's available now. It hit newsstands yesterday. A great cover story from Luke Jackson where he really spent some time with the Rutschman family learning more about Adley's passion for baseball, where it comes from, his love of catching, the interactions that he has with pitchers, all of those things. He really dove deep into that relationship between Adley Rutschman and the game of baseball. Great story. You can go pick up that print issue right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all. PressboxOnline.com. And Austin's running back in with a new print issue of Pressbox, so I can show it to you in case you haven't seen it yet. Look at this. Look at this immaculate cover. Oh, God. You just want to frame it. You just want to say, that's my guy, Adley Rutschman. He's gonna play baseball sometime, right? Like he's gonna.
They said that they're having their first extended spring training game today.
Okay.
He's not quite ready.
Well,
yet,
son of a bitch.
But he's been hitting live pitching. They said he hit a homer in his first live pitching at bat, and in Adley Rutschman fashion is what they said.
Okay.
And that he's been doing defensive drills and throwing drills, and the throwing progressions are coming along.
We've got a little over a month to get him here, so that this will be on stands when he makes his debut. That's pretty important to us. No pressure, though. No pressure whatsoever.
No pressure.
Please make that happen.
Especially after Robinson Chirinos took a pitch to the face yesterday.
That's right. And so it's like Boom Boom Bynum's going to be the guy for a little while.
Boom Boom Bynum.
Yeah, old Freddie Boom Boom Bynum. Remember him? Remember old Freddie?
And the sheriff of Nottingham.
Wait, what?
Jacob Nottingham. He's got to come up, right?
Oh, I didn't know that was. I had no idea that was a thing. That's the name of it.
I would imagine. I mean, I just gave him the nickname, but I would imagine that if
there's a guy named Jacob Nottingham who's.
Yeah, he was.
I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, he's. I think you actually mentioned him as a minor league. No,
Did I?
No. You know what? He wasn't a minor league Rule 5 pick. He was a minor league signing.
Okay.
But if Chirinos has to miss time, I don't know who else will come up.
They're not letting me get my bet in. They keep freezing it every time I hit the button.
They're like, this one guy in Baltimore, Maryland has won too much money.
To bet you
on
Ukrainian ping pong. All right, go pick up the print issue. It's outstanding. And by the way, fine job, Austin. Being you want to be Vanna White? You want to be the one to hold it up? You want to look at that? Look at that. There's a beautiful print issue of Press Box.
It's lovely. Lovely.
You want to do tidbit now?
Yeah, sure.
All
right. Yesterday, the Orioles picked up their 4th victory of the season, defeating the Oakland Athletics 1-0. It was the team's 3rd shutout of the season in just 12 games. For comparison purposes, the Orioles didn't pick up their 3rd shutout in 2021 until July 18th, and only threw 4 for the entire season. Jordan Lyles picked up the win, his first with the Orioles, and the first for an Orioles starter since Zach Lowther defeated the Texas Rangers on September 23rd, a span of 21 games and like 8 months. In fact, Lyles' win was just the 3rd decision for an Orioles starter this season. So I got to thinking, with wins for Orioles starters and the team at such a premium, when was the last time a starting pitcher won 15 games? So I started digging, and I learned that an Orioles starter has won 15 games just 7 times, accomplished by 5 different pitchers in the post-Mike Mussina era. Who were those 5 pitchers?
Wait, it happened 7 times?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually stunned to learn that that's the case.
The first occurrence in 2002.
All right, Austin, you can get involved in this. Do you have a guess?
I do not.
Yeah, he's a Yankees fan, so I kind of it's like
set him up.
The Orioles had pitchers. What? Chris Tillman.
Chris Tillman, he did it twice. He won 16 games in both 2013 and 2016.
Jeremy Guthrie.
No.
They didn't win a lot of games when Jeremy Guthrie was pitching. Wei-Yin Chen.
He won 16 games in 2014.
How about Miguel Gonzalez?
No.
Did Gosman ever do it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. He had stretches where he pitched well, but it's going to be really tough. Sidney Ponson.
No, he won 14
in
that 2003.
Son of a bit. Was that the year he got traded?
He got traded to the Giants.
He would have. He would have won. He
won 17 games total that year.
When they get
only
that?
14
was
for
that
the Orioles.
Damian Moss and Kurt Ainsworth who they got in that trade? Was that the one? Come on, man.
I
thought you were the baseball guy. I thought
Who the
that
hell
was your
remembers return for Sidney Ponson in 2003? All I remember about that team is Ponson and Davey Cruz playing shortstop.
You're gonna have to post Mike. You're gonna have to give me some hint. How many? We're missing 4, right?
You're missing 3 pitchers, 4 occurrences.
You have to give because
the seasons were 2002, 2005, 2006, and 2014.
Who else had that many wins in 2014?
Famous crotch grabber after striking out Mike Trout.
I don't even remember that. Well, I probably do once you tell me who it is.
He was terrible the next year. Became a reliever. Had like 22 saves for the Angels a few years back.
Boy, why am I blanking on this? This was the good Orioles team. This isn't good. Hang on a second. Don't.
No more hints.
Yeah, I gotta guess this before Izaiah Brockington calls. I got 3 minutes. The other starters in 14. It was Tillman, 14. The other. Oh God. Why is Bud Norris?
Bud Norris
okay.
won 15 games. I was about to say a guy with the same last name was just on the show.
That's right. I don't remember him going to the Angels though. Is the problem? I don't remember that at all.
That was in like 2018.
I believe you. I just don't remember it. That really threw me about that entire thing because I just don't remember it. All right, who else? Just tell me.
Rodrigo Lopez won 15 games in both 2002 and 2005.
Okay.
And Eric Bedard won 15 in 2006.
Yeah, I probably should have guessed that. All right, very good. Tidbit was also brought to you today by Glory Days Grill. If you have not tried the spring seasonal menu, I would encourage you to do that right now. The opener, the flash fried pork belly with the popular Korean No. 2 sauce, the crunch burger topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, house-made chips, Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports. Get your order in, glorydaysgrill.com. All right. Tubular, brought to you by, ironic, we just talked to Ed Norris. The Baltimore Police is who brings you Totally Tubular. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police. Make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good, bpdrecruit.org. Here's what's coming up, Totally Tubular-wise. Orioles Athletics, 3:37 first pitch. Tyler Wells, Paul Blackburn, the pitching matchup for that on Masson. Masson 2, Diamondbacks Nationals at 4. MLB Network Cardinals Marlins at 6:30. Rangers Mariners at 9:30. TNT, all Western Conference playoffs tonight. Very weird bit. Everything was in the East last night. Everything's in the West tonight. I don't understand it. Grizzlies T-Wolves, Game 3 at 7:30. Warriors Nuggets, Game 3 at 10. Mavericks Jazz, Game 3 at 9 on NBA TV. And no, I don't want to talk about the fact that Devin Booker's probably going to be out for 2 games. Thanks for asking, though. Appreciate it. ESPN Maple Leafs Lightning at 8 o'clock. ESPN Plus and the Hulu Red Wings Panthers at 7. College lacrosse night, Carolina Notre Dame at 6 on ACC Network. Golf Channel for round 1 of the PGA Zurich Classic at 3:30. The USA Network for Burnley and Southampton at 2:45. Throw out all the records when those teams get together. WWE Network for NXT UK at 3. Access TV for Impact Wrestling at 8. Anything at all non-sports-wise, just maybe 1 or 2 things that you would throw in?
Yeah, so Magic Johnson's going to be on Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight. And
Imagine he'll be talking about the controversy surrounding Winning Time because everybody thinks it's supposed to be a documentary. It's not a documentary. Tinder Swindler, that's a documentary. Righteous Gemstones, that's documentary.
Is it really?
No, of course not.
It could have been.
Right, very much. It's basically the Falwells, so yes.
Jason Bateman and Laura Linney are going to be on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert ahead of next week's premiere of the final episodes of Ozark. And then a new original, Max Original, Amsterdam on HBO Max. That premieres tonight. And Marlon Wayans presents the Headliners. It's a comedy special on HBO Max.
Right,
and stuff
good.
and things.
Very good. Our next guest it's really unique to me because I was enjoying watching him during the NCAA tournament with Iowa State. And he had played previously at Penn State. We had gotten to know this guy a little bit, and you might not have known just how unique his relationship is with the city of Baltimore. Because once upon a time, 25 years ago, his father helped Coppin State pull off one of the most shocking upsets in NCAA tournament history when they knocked off South Carolina, at the time becoming just the second number 2 seed to win a game in the NCAA tournament. He's the son of Antoine Brockington. He was born here in Towson, and he's getting ready for the NBA draft. We welcome in former Iowa State Cyclone. Mr. Izaiah Brockington joins us now here on GCR. Izaiah, it's Glenn and Paul back in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, man. When you hear Baltimore, what comes to mind for you? What do you think about when you hear the word Baltimore?
Coppin.
Yeah.
Coppin State.
Sure.
And just the way that they say certain things.
Okay, like what?
Like hot dog and two. Like just the unique ways that they talk.
That's not bad, bro. That is not bad. You've stuck that out a little bit. Do you happen to know how we pronounce the word ambulance in Baltimore?
No.
Oh, okay. It's ambulance, and I've been thinking about it a lot because there's a new HBO show that starts next week, and you hear John Bernthal say ambulance a great deal during the course of the show, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the Baltimore accent. I watched my dad's Coppin State documentary.
On in Coppin, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You could tell Snoop's accent.
Felicia Pearson, of course, famously Snoop from The Wire, was the narrator of On in Coppin. That was really cool. So how much did you know, like, did you realize who your dad was when you were a kid? Like, did you know how important this thing was? Or when did that come to you that, like, holy crap, this was really cool. People really cared about that.
Really when I was young, because I was like sort of a daddy's boy. Like I always wanted to go wherever he was, whenever he would go to gyms and things like that. That's all everybody would talk about.
Wow.
Like everybody be like, oh man, your dad was this and that back in the day and everything like that. I never went anywhere without somebody telling me how good he was, and he was like, you're going to be better than him and things like that.
That's cool, man. Did you always know it was basketball for you?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing basketball since like 3 years old.
Wow.
Like, it's been the only thing that I've really loved playing.
Was there a moment in your life where you realized how good you were, that like this wasn't just something you were doing for fun or chasing, after what your dad had done? Was there a moment in your life where it struck you like, oh no, dude, I'm a basketball player. Like, this is what I'm doing with my life?
Yeah, probably sophomore year of high school, because my freshman year I didn't play varsity, and I was kind of discouraged. So I came back. I grew from like 5'9" to about 6'1",
That'll
6'2".
help. Yeah.
So yeah, I grew. I started dunking. So man, you already couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, cool, I'm dunking. And then I went out there, played well my sophomore season, and got second team all Catholic. And I was like, oh man, I got 2 more years of high school basketball. I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I could really do something with this.
We're talking with Izaiah Brockington from Iowa State. He's getting ready for the NBA draft. Izaiah, it's got to be weird. You're 6'4", right?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you still hear from people sometimes that you're undersized. Like, what a weird world it is, where you're 6'4", and as you get ready to go into the NBA, people are like, yeah, but I don't know if that's big enough. Like, how difficult is that for you?
Really, it is like a little difficult. I never really feel undersized. But I feel like I have, a body that is, ready for the physicality at the next level. And, it's just about experiencing, that level of physicality, and really just going out there during workouts and camps, like showing what I can do. I'm really explosive, really athletic. So the fact that guys may be an inch or so taller than me, like in the positions that I'd be guarding, like I just want to show that doesn't make a difference.
He is Izaiah Brockington. We're chatting with him here on Glenn Clark Radio. Izaiah, this season and the way that you explode, you had really good seasons, obviously at Penn State and going back to St. Bonaventure, but exploding 17 points for a team that made a run to the Sweet 16. How much more confidence did that give you to be playing on the national stage in big games, having big games, that you are ready to translate this to the NBA?
Honestly, this year I felt like the Big 12 was the toughest conference in the country.
Kind of hard to argue.
Yeah, there was literally, no bad teams. There were no bad losses. Like, every game you had to go out there and go 110% to go out there and have a chance to win. So, I mean, just playing well against competition like that, against defenses like that, and really adjusting, to the way that defenses were guarding me. A lot of defenses were, face guarding me or trying to deny and things like that. So just, watching film, learning how to overcome those things in such a tough league and still, put together the type of year that I had, it definitely gives me a lot of confidence just, going to the next level.
How did it happen for you? We asked this with an amount of hopefulness, Izaiah, because there's a lot of Maryland fans, as you know, in this area, and they've got a first-year head coach coming in Kevin Willard, and historically, you don't typically win all that much with a first-year head coach. And you certainly don't go from, like, missing the NCAA tournament to reaching the Sweet 16, and you sure as hell don't go from, like, barely winning any games to reaching the Sweet 16. How did this happen with you guys this season? How in the world were you able to do this and make this type of run?
Really, it started with Coach TJ knowing the type of system that he wanted to run, and then just getting a group of guys that he felt would buy in, gel well together as far as personalities and playing styles, and then just going out there and executing. Really, obviously everybody, there had heard or been there through, the really tough 2-win season the year before. And we just went out there, like, trying to prove that we weren't them. Like, we were a completely different team with completely different coach scheme and everything. And we were going out there as the underdogs. And we just kind of let that fuel us every day. nobody expected us to win, or every good win, especially early on, was considered a fluke or there was an excuse. So I mean, we just went out there, bought in, and played for each other, and we just had the right group of dudes to make it work.
I mean, it was an incredible thing to see unfold, and it gives us hope back here this way that something like that can be. And Maryland didn't only win 2 games this year, right? They don't even have to turn around nearly as drastically as you guys did, which was maybe the most insane turnaround in the history of the sport. Just an unbelievable thing that people got to witness.
Yeah.
Izaiah, how much still do you feel like you have to prove? And what is it that you want NBA teams to know about you as a person, as a basketball player, that when you get the opportunity to sit down with a GM, with a head coach in the coming weeks and months, that you want them to walk away from it saying about you?
Like, really, I mean, I'm all business about basketball. I've heard a lot. Like recently, I'm 22 years old, and a lot of the young guys, 18, 19-year-olds, get considered like early in the draft and things like that, just because they feel like, oh, these guys' potential is sky high. When you're older, you're kind of looked at as used goods. They feel like you'll plateau quicker, but I want teams to know that, like, I've gotten better every year that I've been in college, and that's not something that is going to stop once I leave college. I feel like my work ethic and, my willingness to be coachable and willingness to learn is something that's always going to follow me. And, I want to show them that, age is not something like a red flag or something that needs to be worried about with me. I know what needs to be done. I've been in every role that you can imagine, really, throughout my playing career, and I go out there and with the same mindset, and I go out there and I get stuff done however it needs to get done. So
it's just
I
wild.
just want teams to know that.
Like, experience is a detriment now, right? Like, it's a wild way that the world has changed. Where, like, the fact that you've done all these things, that, like, but these other guys haven't, so we like them more. Like, it's just a weird, it's a weird deal. Did you feel the love from the Coppin State community as the NCAA tournament was going on? Like, did you feel that in a weird way, despite the fact that clearly you've never played there, like you're not from?
Yeah.
Did you feel any of that?
Yes, definitely did. I heard about it. I mean, ever since we got, selected on Selection Sunday, I would see tweets or get messages and things like that, just from people that knew my dad and knew, the Coppin State story, and they would just, wish me luck and congratulate me on the season that I had. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate all of those people that, support me because of what my dad was able to do for the city.
That's cool. And then this is the important one, Izaiah. At what age were you first legitimately able to beat your dad one-on-one? Like, at what age?
Yeah.
Did it, what was the first time it occurred, and what was it like for you the first time you knew you legitimately beat him straight up one-on-one?
So he stopped wanting to play me around 16, my junior year. So I was 16, junior year in high school, and we used to have these go to these open runs, like with 30-year-old guys, like older guys that he knew, on the weekends sometimes. So we were usually always on the same team, but there was like this one time we were on opposite teams, and I was guarding him, and he tried to hit me with like his patented move. And like, obviously, like, I've been watching it.
Yeah, right.
I've been watching it for 16 years.
Right.
Like, I know what's coming, and you're about to kick your leg out so that I can't get to you. But he tried his move, and I blocked it, and I went down the other end and dunked it. And the whole gym was like,
oh, that's awesome.
But like, we've never, like, he doesn't want to play me one-on-one. I've been able to beat him for a while now. He just can't keep up with it.
That's
He's not that
awesome.
athletic no more.
Right. I mean, come on, man. The guy's
he
well
can
into
shoot,
his
though.
40s now. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. He can't take you. There's no question about that.
Yeah, but he can definitely still shoot.
That's cool. That's cool, man. That's really, really cool. Izaiah, man, it's so great to chat with you. What can we plug for you? Twitter, Instagram, anything like that? Where can folks from this area, Coppin fans, be giving you a follow as you go through this process?
Yeah, so my Instagram and Twitter are the same. So it's at the only IZB. So TheOnlyIZB on both platforms.
Very good, dude. We're so happy for you. It was really cool watching you guys in the tournament, what you were able to accomplish, and we felt a little bit about that. You know, when our team wasn't there, it was neat to have something secondary to kind of be rooting for, and the success that you were having, bro. Congratulations on everything. Best of luck to you as you go through this process, and hopefully the next time we chat with you, it's as you're succeeding in the NBA and moving towards some significant accomplishments. Appreciate you taking
Yes,
the time.
sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me. It was great talking to you.
Izaiah Brockington from Iowa State, getting ready for the NBA draft. Of course, the son of Antoine Brockington, the former Coppin State star. Appreciate him taking the time for us this morning. All right, that'll do it for the Glenn Clark radio portion of today's program. When we come back in, we will transition into Weekend at Bookies. Want to thank everybody who joined us today. Want to thank Ed Norris. That was very cool for me. It's been a long time since I caught up with Ed. Want to thank Noah Batchelor, right? The first commit at the University of Maryland. Also want to thank Izaiah Brockington, who just joined us. We'll get all of that up in the greatest hits section of the
Archives.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Had to pad there for a second just to drag that out long enough. Coming up on the program tomorrow, Sarah Perlman, the future Mrs. Mancini, who is working NBC for the USFL. She does a lot of betting stuff, too. But we're going to talk to her about that. A rumor that Jermaine Johnson might join us on the program tomorrow, who I think is a lot of Ravens fans' preferred selection with the 14th pick, should he fall there. And do we have anything else that's solid for tomorrow? Or is it just stuff and things?
Stuff and things. Do you think she changes her name to Sarah Mancini or
No,
Keisha
she's
Perlman?
in the business. I don't think she just sticks with Sarah Perlman. I think
Fair
she'll
enough.
continue to be that. Austin's going to hang out with us for the next program as well, so I'll let him get his plugs in at the end of that. Thanks to everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the good folks at Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Baltimore Police, Grade 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook, Live Casino and Hotel, Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Paul. Follow him on Twitter, at Paul Valley III. Thanks to Ryan, at RexBexRyan is how you follow him. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday night. Go Birds. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too. When we come back in, it'll be Weekend at Bookies. If you're with us on video, just hit refresh. We'll be back in a bit. And if you're with us on audio, do nothing. We'll see you for Weekend at Bookies next.